When you're putting well, clearly things are flowing, you're making the most of your good shots into the greens, and more so you're making saves, you're holding putts and keeping momentum to rounds of golf. And obviously when I'm putting well, I always feel like it's a bit more of an instinctive process. And sometimes when I'm putting poorly, it's way too conscious. I'm working on my stroke, I'm feeling the rotation of my putter, I'm really trying hard to line up the blade. I think the harder you try sometimes to make a putt, the more elusive it can be. So that's where putting is a little bit counterintuitive, because if you're not making putts, the urge is to try harder to make putts, and that actually ends up working against you. So the putting side has to be very visual, has to be very creative. Like I said, when you're not making putts, it's hard just to trust that. You always feel like there's something wrong with your alignment or there's something wrong with your stroke, but more often than not, there's something wrong with your visuals and your process, and that's the hard part to teach somebody. You can look at someone's stroke and you can say, okay, well, you're in to out, but they might be in to out for a very good reason because of their posture, but it might be creating a square putter face for them. So, chasing a technically perfect stroke, I don't think is always the answer. To me, posture is the most important thing with putting, because it dictates how you see the line. If you are changing where your head is in time and space, so if your head's too up and you're looking down at it, you might see the line too far to the right, or if you crouch too much over the ball, you might then see the line too far left. Getting into a posture where you see a straight line is very, very important. I use a drill actually where I put a stick in front of my ball, and I sort of adjust my posture until that stick looks in the middle of the hole to me. And it's amazing, if you, like I said, if you change the distance from the ball or the height you stand, that stick can look left edge, right edge, straight. So I think that's very, very important to see a straight line. I think rhythm is really the most important thing that I think a lot of people don't understand, because if you get too quick to the ball, typically you leave the face wide open. If you decel, typically the right hand then takes over and you miss it to the left. And so those are some of the keys. So it's like the rhythm of how everything's moving together. And the other thing is keeping very quiet eyes. That's the one thing I see in pro-ams, is everyone's this way. And again, if you're this way, it's like a built-in block to me. So for me, a release is like where the putter goes past your quiet eyes. It's not so much how much the putter might rotate, but if you're just being very quiet into impact with your head and your eyes, and you hit the ball, I think that's the best way to square up the club face, because as soon as you peak, you begin to lose where the release point is. If you're looking at the back of the ball, I think you're more often than not going to square up the club face. There's definitely a rhythm and a timing to it, like a metronome, like a tick-tock. To keep that constant is a great way to keep your speed constant, rather than going slow, fast, and then slow, fast. Just keeping everything very metronomic, like tick-tock. And then, the longer the stroke gets, it's still tick-tock. So I think we all have our own built-in natural rhythm to the putt, and I think it's important just to try and keep that constant. Putting is just about confidence, and it's about sticking with it, and it's about building repetitions and just building confidence and trust, because at the end of the day, playing under pressure, that's all that matters, is believing you're going to make a putt. For me, when I've made the biggest putts of my career, they've been because I've needed to make the putt, and all I've seen is the back of the hole. I haven't really thought about the stroke or the mechanics.